Good morning, this is Dave. My call sign is KG7LEA, and this is the 9 o'clock net. This net meets twice a day at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. here on the repeater operated by the Puget Sound Repeater Group at a frequency of 146.96, a negative offset, and a tone of 103.5. It is a social net. We're interested in what you've got planned for the day, what your weekend was like, and it's also a location where new licensees can put their thumbs down for the first time and say hello. If you're a brand new licensee and you want to make your first contact in the amateur radio service, let me know. You may be entitled for an attractive wall certificate with your very own call sign. We just have two rules. First is that you direct all of your transmissions to me, the net control operator. And two, when you're done with your transmission, give me your FCC call sign. That tells me that you're done with your transmission, and it tells the FCC who you are. So we'll go ahead and look for any mobile stations checking in. Mobile stations, go ahead. Well, somebody is out there. It is a holiday, so we don't have as many people going to work. I will take any station checking in. Go ahead.
KI7HOH with an IO. KI7HOH.
Well, I hear the tail of the repeater, and I know that I'm hitting the receiver, so I'll stand by for anybody checking in.
November 0, Papa Bravo Romeo, and 0 PBR.
NR 0 PBR, did I get that right?
November 0, PBR, John and Kirkland.
Go ahead, John. You have a good signal.
Great. Yeah, just real quick, did a SOTA activation of Squawk Mountain. Got 5 2-meter contacts. I threw up the dipole for 10 meter. Can't do it 20 or 40 yet, so don't have my general, but I'm working on it. But tried a few 10 meter, didn't get anything. Probably a lot of interference from all those towers up there, but did get my activation of Squawk Mountain. So looking forward to getting my general and doing more backcountry activation. So back to net, November 0, Papa Bravo Romeo.
Thank you, John. Yes, when I got my technician, I turned around and got my general a month later, and I'm not sorry for it. I don't spend much time on HF, but occasionally I do need those band privileges. Are there anyone else checking in for the 9 o'clock net?
N7, going without gas. Steve in northeast Seattle. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Next station, please.
This is K7WG, Will, on the move.
Hi, Will. Is there another station behind Will?
Alpha Golf 7, Charlie X-ray, Lloyd, Tacoma in and out.
Alpha Golf 7, Charlie X-ray. Thank you. You're in and out. Next station, please.
Kilo Mike 7, Oscar.
KM70. Thank you. Let's talk to N7GWG.
Well, good morning. You've got a wonderful signal from Whidbey Island. And, of course, we're eternally jealous. We had to sell our property at Lagoon Point years ago. But, hey, it was right before the 2008 debacle, so I guess we shouldn't complain too much. And we had 20 good years there, and I'm sure you enjoy the time you spend up there as well. It looks like the sun is going to break through good, and so I can no longer postpone trimming the tops of the cherry tree, which is in my parking strip, and they are up into the phone wires and cable wires. So we're going to give it a haircut, probably kind of a military haircut, like a flat top, as they used to call them. So that's on our agenda. What a game that was! Oh my gosh, a cliffhanger! If little Tyler Lockett had only been a few feet taller, or Wilson would have thrown it a few feet lower, we may have won that game. Oh my gosh! And 7gwg.
Thank you, Steve. It's my understanding that the owner of those wires is responsible for keeping the trees back, but you're doing this on your own?
Oh yeah, I'm conscientious. I clean the leaves out of our curb, out of the gutter, and I suppose the city does that every once in a while as well. But no, yeah, I've done it a couple times, and they grow those suckers or water spouts or something. And 7gwg.
Thank you, Steve. Well, be careful up around those wires. There's a chapter in your technician's manual about that sort of safety. KF7VNA, Will, go ahead.
Good morning, Dave, and morning to Ned. Yeah, I'm out here heading to the museum, and I was thinking about that fellow climbing Chalk Mountain. I believe that's what he said, to put up I suppose some sort of J-pole type thing and send out with on a wire. That sounds very neat, and it'd be interesting to send out a long enough wire for some of the higher wave-like bands. That sounds pretty cool. I used to do a lot of hiking and climbing, but things have slowed down the last few years, and I'm sort of semi-jealous. Not really jealous, just wish I could do the same thing as well. KF7 being... Actually, I also, this weekend, I helped a technician's class at the Red Cross, and I'm surprised the stuff I didn't know that the technicians are being tested on KF7VNA, and I'm clear.
I'm pretty amazed at the number of licenses that are coming out now. I hope we see some of them in public service. And Summits on the Air is a perfect blend of something like amateur radio and the outdoors. Have a great day at the museum, Will. KM70, go ahead.
Yeah, this is KM70. My name is John. I'm in the Edmonds Bowl, so I'm having a little problem receiving, but I'm going through the Lake Forest Park receiver, I think. So I'd just like a signal report. I'm going to try to get the antenna in a different position for receiving, but I think my signal may be getting there okay because I'm looking at it on the screen here. So back to you.
John, you've got a signal that I'll call Charlie Mike 5. My reception signal from the Queen Anne repeater is maybe 4.5, and everybody says that I've got a good solid signal. So I'll call yours Charlie Mike 5, and it just may be that the receiving signal isn't quite as good as what you're putting into the voter receiver. Have a good day. This is KG7LEA. This is the 9 o'clock net. I'm looking for more check-ins.
KI7HOH with an IO.
KI7HOH. Where are you calling in from?
KI7HOH. Right now, I'm in North Seattle.
North Seattle, good signal. Thank you. Next station, please.
November Romeo 7 Oscar, Ron in Kirkland.
NR70. Was there another station behind Ron?
K7KOJ, Mountain Joe.
Hi, Joe. I haven't talked to you in a while. Next station, please.
KI7NRI, David.
morning, David. Next station, please. K7PDZ. Jim? Good morning, Jim. Let's go to NR70. Ron?
Well, I'm having myself a bowl of cereal here this morning, and my reading material as I'm doing it is the Costco directory of all warehouses. It's kind of like reading the dictionary. Let's look at all the addresses and go, ooh, there's one. I've been to that one. It's silly. Anyway, it is a work day for me, but not until 2:30. It was kind of a busy weekend, but you know, when you're doing your own department and stuff, you're working on your thing there, you're just in the zone. You're working on what's right in front of you and that kind of stuff. It could be very busy, but you know, just like life, take them one at a time. Just do the thing. Anyway, it is my wife's birthday today. She says she has a day, you know, she's a school nurse, and so because the holiday and whatever, she gets today off. So she said, yeah, my birthday's so special, they made a day off for me. So, anyway, we went out to dinner last night, so I don't know what's in store for today, but anyway, there it is. Oh, got to mention one more time, the East Side Eyeball, psrg QSO, so if you're listening, you're on the East Side, come by the Cut Shop in Woodinville on Saturday at 7:30. Again, Cut Shop, Woodinville, Saturday, 7:30. And you can come a little early if you want. I just get off work at 7:30. I'll probably be over there a little earlier. But anyway, throwing out Westsiders welcome too, of course. It's a longer trip for you, that's all. Anyway, good day all, and NR70.
Thanks, Ron. You know that you've read too many of those directories when you start to memorize the addresses and store hours. K7gwg, Mountain Joe, go ahead.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I'm looking at the voter system. I wanted to see how I sounded this morning. I haven't hit too many morning nets since I got my new power supply and the good radio back in the trailer. Looks like I'm getting in there. Boy, it was cold last night up here outside of Granite Falls. My thermometer said 28, so I believe it. I wasn't sure it was right, so I got on NOAA and checked NOAA out, and they said that Machias was 27, so I figured, well, that's pretty close. And so I'm waiting for it to warm up a little bit so I can help my landlord put up a new garage door, a sectional garage door. So so I'm calling the time, so I'm going to wait till about 11 o'clock, I think, until it warms up a bit. Good to hear you, Dave, and let's try and get in more often. From Granite Falls, K7gwg.
Thank you, Joe. Do you happen to know what your elevation there is?
Well, Granite Falls is somewhere between 450, 500 feet, I think, and I'm probably a little bit lower than the city proper. I'm about 5 miles out of town.
Someone stepped on you there out of town. That's as far as we got, and then you were stepped on. You were covered. Is there another station calling in? Thanks, Joe. Let's go to KI7NRI. David, remind me where you're calling in from.
Good morning, Dave. I am in Bothell, in the Canyon Park area, so I have a real easy shot to the Lake Forest Park repeater. It's pretty easy. Yes, it was cold last night again, and my trees in my yard, because of the cold, I'm guessing there wasn't much wind, have dropped their second big load of leaves. So today, once it warms up, I'll be out there with the rake and a blower, trying to make the place look pretty again. That's pretty much my day. Thanks for running the net. David, KI7NRI.
Thank you, David. David. Let's talk to Jim, K7PDZ.
Hey, good morning, Dave, and everybody out there in the net today. Yeah, we had, right now it's 43 degrees here in South Bellevue. 34 was a low overnight, and when I went out to get newspaper this morning, there was frost on the roof. So, yeah, it's cold here too, but, man, it warmed up almost 10 degrees here. So, anyway, not much going on today, just the usual lazy day for me. So, hey, everybody have a good day. Just wanted to stop in and say hello. This is Jim, K7PDZ.
Thank you, Jim. It's always good to hear from you. Are there any more stations checking in to the 9 o'clock net?
K7ETW, Wink, mobile.
Wink, you are mobile, so go ahead.
Morning, Dave. Morning, folks on the net. Yeah, I'm working today, so just taking a roll down I-5, just crossing Ship Canal Bridge right now. Nice light traffic, which is great. It's about 47 degrees down here in downtown, and high overcast, so it looks like it's going to be another nice day. It's good to hear kind of things are cooling down, getting ready for ski season, so hopefully we'll get a bit of snow in the mountains coming up here soon, and get ready to get the skis waxed and everything ready for that. I'm going to go see Warren Miller this weekend. It's kind of our kickoff event for the season, so looking for snow, I guess. Anyway, everybody have a good one. This is Wink, K7ETW.
Thank you, Wink, and enjoy the trouble-free drive. This is KG7LEA, looking for more check-ins.
W7KKX, Ken, mobile.
Morning, Ken. Next station, please. Ken, you're mobile. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you. Good morning. I've been listening to the net, and then I have my whole family in the car here. We're going to go up and do a hike up at Twin Falls. I noticed that the PTT button, I was listening, and all of a sudden it went quiet, and I looked up, and so I may have been transmitting with a rogue PTT button, so I apologize for that. Not sure if that happened or not, but I was like, all right, I'm going to get on the net. Sets up if it happened. Anyway, so yeah, it's a beautiful day. We're going to go do Twin Falls Trailhead Day. Nice short hike, and everybody's all ready. We're all dressed in layers and all that. It's going to be beautiful. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll enjoy listening to whatever is left of the net. Thanks for doing it this morning, KG7LEA. W7KKX, back to net control.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks for checking in. Are there any other mobile stations checking in? Mobile stations. Any station at all checking into the 9 o'clock net? Go ahead.
KWE, West Seattle, Rich.
Rich, say again your call sign.
Kilo 3, Oscar Echo.
K3OE, thank you, Rich. Next station, please.
KI7ZCP, Kilo Ida 7, Zebra Charles Paul, Scott in Renton.
Thank you, Scott. Next station, please.
KJ7, Quebec, Whiskey Z. This is Jason calling in from Kingston.
K3OE, Rich, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. K3OE in West Seattle with a whole 50 milliwatts, and it looks like I'm getting in okay. I don't have much this morning, but if Steve is still monitoring, maybe you can do a recheck. I'm curious about something. A day or two ago, he was on the morning net, and he talked about electric car movies, and I think a director that got his house burned down or something. Anyway, I missed most of it, but I would love to hear what that is all about. This is K3OE.
Well, Rich, we can ask. Steve, are you still available for an afternet?
Absolutely, always on that subject matter.
after we close the net, you can give Steve a call and he'll talk to you.
Thank you. KO3 back to the net.
Thank you, Rich. KI7ZCP, Scott. I haven't ever talked to you before. Go ahead. Where are you?
Yes, this is Scott in Renton, KI7ZCP. Thanks for having me on the net. Because of the holiday, I can check into the net today. I've checked into other 9 o'clock nets, namely on the weekend every so often, but this is my first time checking into weekday net. I think I may have checked into one before, but it's really extremely rare if I have. I have a question that I'd like to ask the population at large who's participating in the net. I'm sort of new to the area here. I've been here a couple months, so I don't know much about what's going on today or good places to go, and since I have a day off, I have a day to kill. I think I'm going to go maybe find a friend and go do some stuff, but I haven't got any ideas as to anything that may be specific to Veterans Day or not in the area. I live in Renton, so anywhere near here or, around the area, any suggestions would be very welcome. So with that, I'll leave it. It's a cold one outside today, and I'll be listening to the nets, staying nice and warm inside here for the time. KI7ZCP, Scott in Renton. Thank you for having me today.
Well, welcome to the 0900 net, Scott. I tend not to go to the 2100 nets myself, so I will offer one suggestion that's proximate to you, and that's the Veterans Day Parade in Auburn. I heard they have like 200 units, so that's a big parade. That's as big as Torchlight. But you can look that up and find out more about it, and then other folks that check in on the net can offer their 2 cents. But look up the Auburn Veterans Parade. They're just south of you, 15 miles, I guess. This is KG7LEA. This is the 9 o'clock net. I'm looking for more check-ins.
KG7CME.
Calling in from Whidbey Island. Normally I'm in North Seattle, but I have a home up here in Whidbey. And now I've got, between the new receiver voter system and a new antenna, I can get in and cover the nets from here on Monday morning. It was a quiet weekend here, very pleasant, kind of rainy on Saturday, so that limited my leaf raking. So I made up for it yesterday. Did a lot of writing, worked on my novel, and I enjoyed that very much, and of course just hanging out. So this is KG7LEA looking for other check-ins. Go ahead.
KG7CME.
Hi, Elaine. Next station, please. Go ahead, Elaine.
Good morning, Dave. And on this side of the water, it's a little bit cloudy. Still little patches of blue. And we took the bike tandem up to Discovery Park yesterday, which was an adventure. Tandems aren't really hill climbers, and neither of us has been riding much, so it's a challenge because where we cross is pretty much sea level, and then we have to go up this steep hill. But we got up to the top, and it was beautiful, and I was surprised at how many leaves were still on the trees up there. So I guess they haven't all fallen off, even though the ones in our neighborhood have. Anyways, not much else to say. I'm sure I'll hear lots of you folks later this evening on the various nets. KG7CME, back to net.
Thank you, Elaine. That's the one thing I've observed about tandems is they're slow uphill, but boy, do they go fast downhill. I remember I rode the Seattle-Portland a couple of years ago, and I'd pass a tandem, and then they'd pass me. Have a good day. Are there any other stations?
KG7, KNF, Kevin in North Seattle.
Morning, Kevin. Next station, please. Go ahead.
Well, good morning, Dave. Good morning to the rest on the net. I was out raking leaves. Jack, our secretary of the club, came by yesterday and dropped off a book called The Six Frigates by Ian Toll. It's the gathering of money and funding and discussions. It's a historical piece about putting together the first bit of a navy for the U.S. And I got through a couple chapters last night before bed, and it's full of interesting facts, and it looks like it's going to be a fun book. Then I could not sleep, got up at 4, ate a bowl of cereal, and broke half a tooth. So I have that going, and probably more leaves out there today to go rake. But I did want to say, Dave, there was a call out from it sounds like a new ham, Jason in Kingston, and I don't know if he made it onto the net or not, or if it was a simplex I was picking up. It was just a while ago. Jason in Kingston had called in, and no response. So I'll send it back to you, Dave. KG7 KNS.
Thanks, Kevin. It seems like teeth only break or crowns only come off on Friday afternoons or on a 3-day weekend. So hope you get that fixed. So thanks for the heads up of Jason. Jason, are you out there? Go ahead.
Yes, good morning. This is KJ7QWZ.
I copy Kilo Golf 7 Quebec Whiskey Zebra. Do I have that right?
Kilo July 7 Quebec Whiskey Z.
KJ7QWZ. Go ahead, Jason. Where are you?
Yes, good morning. I live in Kingston. I'm watching just across the Sound. A little frosty of a morning, but we warmed up to about 46. I did call in earlier, and I apologize. I got pulled in on a work call, so I had to set it down, but glad that somebody had heard me. I had some issues earlier with getting my antennas and everything set up right, but I'm now working off of a great little 2-meter rig that my father sent to me, a TM281 Kenwood, and it's powering just beautifully, and everything is working pretty good. I got to join in on the 9 o'clock net last night, and just enjoying this newfound hobby and meeting new people. It's quite a wonderful experience.
Thank you, Jason. Welcome, and hope we hear more of you. There are other nets, and you'll find, looks like for your call signs, you're pretty new to the amateur radio service. So welcome. Are there any other stations checking into the 9 o'clock net?
Excuse me. Good morning, Dave. It's W7AMD, all tongue-tied. Chris up in Mill Creek. Good morning.
Hi, Chris. Next station, please. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, good morning, W7AMD. All tongue-tied here because I looked up and the meters weren't telling me what I wanted to see. I'd taken the station apart to take some stuff over to a new ham yesterday, KJ7BCF, just across the road here in Linwood, South Everett, and put up an HF antenna, and so I got my little 817 out, and of course changed all the things, the features on it, and I looked up at the power meter and it wasn't showing anything, and that's because I disconnected it. So the brain had the wrong input all of a sudden, and it stopped me in my tracks. So anyway, yesterday was a fun afternoon. We got Claudio's new antenna up and worked some people, and he worked me, and so that was really good. In a tiny little garden, so he's active on HF, and we had a QSO when I got back home here last night. Not that 3.5 miles is much of a QSO, but hey, it all counts. It's a perfect day in your neighborhood. I think today I'm going to call up and get my go up and get my coach back, maybe today or tomorrow. So we'll be RV mobiling potentially again, although I think the season is just about done for us. But it'd be nice to get it back in a working state again. And other than that, I think that's the news from here. So back to you, Dave. And thanks for doing the net this morning. Good morning to everybody. Stay safe. W7 AMD, Mill Creek.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, real good signaling this morning. Are there any other stations checking into the 9 o'clock net? Well, I'll check in. This is Dave, KG7LEA, up here on Whidbey Island, and maybe I already did check in. It's okay to check in twice. Net Control can do anything he wants. I want to remind everyone that this is radio night tonight in Seattle at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. The Seattle Auxiliary Communications Service has its weekly net. Seattle ACS assists the city of Seattle in emergencies and for special events. And once a week at 7 o'clock on this repeater, we have a weekly net where we check our equipment and receive information about group activities. If you are interested in public service as a part of your amateur radio service, this is a good place to start. There are generally groups involved in every community that support the community with amateur radio. So that's 7 o'clock tonight here on the PSRG. I'm going to drop a minute. Was there a station calling in? Say again.
This is K7, Dave. I'm getting you CM5 now. Move my antenna about 3 feet.
I'm not getting a signal. Can someone relay?
This is ZCP. Have him try it again. I'll see if I can't pull it out.
Yeah, that station calling. Say again. I'm not copying you. Maybe.
All I got was a kilowatt Foxtrot 7. This is N7TWG.
The PSRG, Puget Sound Repeater Group, has its weekly net. Members check in and receive information on group meaning the educational and technical things that go on. At 8 o'clock is a digital net. Now that's on a different repeater. That's on the Columbia Tower repeater, 444.55. If you're interested in digital, such as FLDG and some of the other modes, that's a good place to start. And then at 9 o'clock is the other side of this net. Joan, KX2CW, hosts that net routinely, so you can check in there. Same kind of social net. Are there any other stations checking into the 9 o'clock net?
KD7, Papa Whiskey Bravo, mobile, Dave.
Good morning, Dave. Next station, please. KD7, Papa Whiskey Bravo, go ahead.
Well, good morning, Dave. Everybody on the net. So, sorry I'm a little late this morning. I got up and had to get some chores done around the boat and that kind of thing this morning, so I couldn't be near the radio. But, hey, I'm off doing some other errands now, and I'm in the truck, so I'm now mobiling along. And what a beautiful morning. I mean, it's cold, but it was really quite pleasant out. No wind and calm, and Olympics are absolutely beautiful this morning. So, hey, nice morning to get up and enjoy the morning. So, everybody have a great day. I'll turn it back to net. KD7, Papa Whiskey Bravo, Dave, the Pirate Radio.
Thank you, Dave. Are there any other stations checking into the 9 o'clock net? Are there any questions, any comments, any requests for afternet contact? Any more check-ins to the 9 o'clock net? Go ahead. Okay, with that, I'm going to close the net and return return the repeater to its normal operation. I want to thank the Puget Sound Repeater Group for the use of this repeater for these daily nets. Everyone have a good day. This is KG7LEA.
And November 7, going without gas, is monitoring.
And this is K7gwg in West Seattle. How are you doing this morning, Steve?
Fine. K7gwg. Let's get that straightened out, because an N and an M can sound the same. K3. Yeah, repeat that phonetically, so I'm not gonna be dissing you here.
No problem, Steve. Kilo 3 Oscar Echo.
Oh, there's no N or M in there. Okay, OE. All right. Well, yeah, glad to talk about that. What was a specific question or so fire away.
Okay, well, I heard you a day or two on the morning net, and I was a little late checking in, and I missed part of it, but you were talking about an electric car movie and a director of it, I think, that got burned out down in California, something like that. Anyway, if you could just go through that again, it sounded very interesting to me. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger, that, yeah. The gentleman's name is Chris Payne, P-A-I-N-E, and he is the director of these two documentaries. One is about 10 years ago or more, called Who Killed the Electric Car, which was a brief story about the General Motors and the other manufacturers, like Ford and Honda, and others in California that were mandated to actually produce some electric vehicles and have them for sale or lease, mostly lease, in California. And you know, the engineering fraternity really hopped right on this, and General Motors had the best one of the bunch. It was a sleek 2-passenger car. First with this lead acid batteries, and then the second generation with metal nickel hydride. But corporate bean counters, I didn't like it. A lot of the politicians of that era didn't like it, from Washington, D.C. And the batteries were nothing like we have now. And so it more or less documented why the thing kind of fizzled out. But the focus was that General Motors would not, the people that had those EV1 electrics loved them and would have done anything to keep the lease or extend the lease or pay off the lease and keep the car. But General Motors brought them all back and crushed them. And when a lot of the people in the California, Hollywood area owned them, some of the famous stars, and boy, they got on top of this, and so there was the movie. Then, 5 or 6 years later, Revenge of the Electric Car, with the same director. And this was a story of the Renaissance, Carlos Ghosn of Nissan, Renault, and his big push to bring out the Nissan Leaf electric, and Elon Musk, of course, and his big push to bring out the first Tesla Roadster. And I'm looking right at his picture of he and I together, the General Motors vice president, that was the father of the Chevrolet Volt, that's with a Victor, VOLT. And his story, and then more or less Bob Lutz, Robert Lutz, L-U-T-Z, vice president, now retired, of course, and the story of that, and then another private owner of a company that was making conversions, and his story. So those are all good movies you should rent and watch. K7gwg.
K3OE in West Seattle. Okay, Steve, thank you so much for that. That's what I missed the other morning, and so you've got me really curious. I'm very interested in electric vehicles, and most likely my next one will be an EV. Probably the last car I'll ever own. But I hope to make that possible. And I see that you drive an EV, and I'm curious. I went to an EV meeting here recently, and there was a car just like yours there, and I'm wondering if that was maybe you. This is K3OE back to N7GWG.
Oh, possibly. White with blue trim. I actually missed the last two meetings. One of them was in Bellevue after a auto show, so it wasn't at our normal meeting place behind Dick's Drive-In in the Wallingford area. But the next meeting, I guess that would have been the October meeting, I spaced out and actually missed it. So the next meeting is the 13th of November. It's always the second Tuesday of each month, so we're not going to miss that one. Well, I see your smiling face here on the QRZ page. Look like you're about close to my age. I'm coming down on the big 75 this December. You're out of Tampa, Florida. So have you migrated to Seattle for good, or just for a visit, or passing through?
Okay, this is K3OE. Let me take a little break in case somebody wants to jump in. Okay, not sure who that was. Give it another try.
This is KM70207 Oscar John.
Okay, this is K3OE. Could you copy that, Steve?
I thought I heard KM7 Oscar John, OJ, but give it phonetically again, sir, please.
Yeah, this is Kilo Mike 7 Oscar, and my name is John. I'm in Edmonds.
Hey, well, welcome aboard, John. Back up to Richard, K3OE.
Okay, this is K3OE. Okay, now we can copy. It must have found a hot spot there. Anyway, you're kind of weak, so take it away and let's see what you've got to say. This is K3OE.
Yeah, K3OE and N7GWG KM70. I'm in Edmonds, down here in the bowl, and it's really hot. So I think I'm working through the Lake Forest Park receiver, and when I first called you, I was only running 10 watts, now I'm running 50 watts, and I think I'm going to have to run the 50 watts. So how is this? All I want to know is how my signal's getting through.
Okay, this is K3OE. It's kind of choppy. I can copy, but it's not easy. You keep dropping in and out, so you must be in a weak area. This is K3OE. Go ahead.
Okay, K3OE, KM70. Yeah, I'm going to have to reorient the antenna. Now, I've got a really good receiving in this location. It's an indoor antenna, but evidently transmitting now is not so good. What we did is like a knife edge refraction across this hill up here, and so the signals tend to get in and out almost like you're in a mobile. So I'm going to do a little more experimenting. I'll let you guys go and have your conversation, and I'll work on my antenna here. So 73.
Sounds like he's got some RF on his signal. W7AMD, good morning, guys.
Good morning. This is k7gwg. Jump in.
Good morning, guys. I've been listening since the net. Good morning, Steve, to you too. And good morning to John, W7AMD. Chris up in Mill Creek, just sitting here writing out QSL cards for a new ham and listening to the conversation. Just wanted to say to John, your indoor antenna sounds like it's picking up some RF on the microphone or something. The signal is strongish, but it's breaking up on your voice peaks, so I suspect that's a bit of RF. And you say you've got an indoor antenna. I used to get a bit of that too, but anyway, worth looking into. Back to you, Steve, and pass it around. W7AMD in Mill Creek.
Roger. Good morning, Chris. And we're still working on your fix that you were so graciously helped me with, and thank you again for that. Let's tie the ribbons on Chris Payne, the director of those two movies. They are relative. They are available and would give you a really good background on the whole EV movement per se. There's two national organizations, the Electric Auto Association out of California, who started in '69 and they're still going, which our chapter is a chapter member. And then there's Plug-in America, which is another national organization, and a lot of the folks that were involved in the movement to try to save those GM cars were later on became Plug-in America because they were they were angry. They were really angry about what General Motors did. And actually, it's funny, one of the GM presidents, I think it starts with a W, I can't think, he later on said it was a mistake to have cut that program off, because now they're playing catch-up with Tesla and their 300,000 orders that they are trying to fill. By the way, there are a lot of good used electric vehicles out there. Richard, if you're interested, for as little as $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, and it would be good enough for 40, 50, 60, 70 miles a day, and freeway capable, and all the airbags, and federally certified. So you might think about that. And we'll toss it back to K3OE and 7GWG.
Okay, this is K3OE. Okay, Steve, that's good info. I have considered a used one, so I'll keep that in the back of my mind, that's for sure. Okay, I won't hold it too much longer, but one last question. You mentioned that there's an EV meeting the second Tuesday of every month, so that would be tomorrow. I'd like to know about that. Go ahead.
Roger. If you know the University District area or Wallingford area, 45th Street runs east-west from the I-5. It's just about 4 blocks west of I-5. There's a famous burger emporium called Dick's Drive-In, and there's a big church right behind Dick's Drive-In. I think it's 2nd Avenue and 45th Street are the cross streets, and we meet there at, people start to arrive at about 6:30, and the meeting starts at 7 inside the church. And that's right to the south of the drive-in. N7TWG.
K3OE here. Okay, Steve, thank you very, very much. And I'll just make one last comment, and then I'm going to drop out of here and get some work done here today. Yes, I live in Tampa, Florida, but I'm from here, and I still have a house here, so I tend to go back and forth from time to time. So I'm going to go get some work done, Steve, and thank you very, very much for the information, and I'll toss it back to you. This is K7gwg.
Okay, Richard, and sometime we have more time, I'd like to hear about your time in Germany. I spent a year in Berlin, and my first wife ended up being from Lübeck, Germany, and there were other very exciting things there. That back in my Army days, 1967, 68, 69, and 7TWG. Back over to Chris.
Yeah, good morning again, guys. Slow going this morning. Had a busy day yesterday installing new antenna for a new ham over in Linwood, and somehow I slept in. My wife woke me up at about 8:20. She said, "I think you guys need to get up." It's me and the dog fast asleep with the curtains drawn. So dragging my feet here this morning, barely made the 9 o'clock nap, but it's looking like a pretty day out there. Plain is that my RV is finally repaired, and they're talking about me wanting to go up and get it. I'm not sure if they're open today. I need to give them a call. Every day is a holiday for me, but I have to remember which days other people have holidays too. So with that, I'll bid you both good morning. Steve, good to hear you as always, and we'll see you all shortly, I guess, on the radio here. W7AMD 73s. Good morning.
No, thank you, Chris. Well, this is M7 Golf Whiskey Golf. I'm putting off getting those ladders out and a chainsaw and the loppers and stuff, but I can't put it off very much longer. It's probably only an hour's worth of work, but I've been putting it off for days and days and days. N7TWG.
And K7gwg back for a short comment. Yes, Steve, I've got the same thing on my plate this morning. Got to do some trimming and clear some wires and stuff like that. So I know what you mean. I got to get out there. The sun is out right now. And and to answer your question, yeah, I just turned 75 myself. So I guess we both need to get out there and get something done. So thanks for all the information, Steve. This is K7gwg.
KI7ZCB.
Go ahead.
Well, I've just been enjoying the conversation, and I wanted to make sure I got a part of it before you all go out to do your chores today. First of all, I have to say, good for you all going out and doing such things at your ripe young ages. Very good. It's awful nice to hear. It's unfortunately, I know plenty of people who are about that age who aren't able to do such things. So good for you all. That makes me real happy to hear. I'm sorry you have to do it today. Wish you could go out and have a little more fun than that. But at any rate, your conversation about the electric cars is pretty fascinating. So thanks for that. I'm just curious to know. I'm a bit of a I'm well known for saying they just don't make them like they used to. I drive an old car and I like it. I'm an internal combustion engine sort of guy. But I'm curious to know about your satisfaction in general with electric cars. It sounds to me like you are a bit of a fan of electric cars, and I'm just curious to know why and your commentary on that. So I'll pass it back to you all.
Yeah, what's the handle there? I'm not near where I can call you up on QRZ. And your location, you got a really strong signal.
This is Kilo Ida 7, Zebra Charles Paul, Scott in Renton, and that's not the address that shows up on the QRZ, but I'm here in Renton.
Oh, thank you, Scott. And for the correction, I had you down as Delta Charlie Papa. You know, a D and a Z, one of those two words that kind of sounds the same. Yeah, well, yes, a fan. Our family had a GM dealership starting in 1947. Mostly GMC trucks, then Hudson automobiles, and then Isuzu heavy-duty trucks, and then we sold the dealership and got out of the biz in the early 90s. But in the meantime, in 1980, we took on a line of electric vehicles that were conversions, converted from a gas car, from a little company in Massachusetts called U.S. Electric Car. And soon after we got the minimum order was 4. They landed at our dealership in Rainier Valley on December 5th, my birthday. Also the birthday of Walt. Walt Disney. Yeah, so the December 5th is a funny date because it's also the date that the GM EV1 went on sale, December 5th. So it's kind of a magic date there. But anyway, it took about 2 months to sell the first 2 to doctors. Now, mind you, they were twice the price of the gasoline Renault. If you know the Renault R5 or Renault Le Car, as they were called, that was the car they were using as a base. They got the motor and gas tank and everything, and put in 900 pounds of lead batteries. They would barely do 50 miles an hour, but we were enthralled, and I joined the club here in Seattle and became their president in '81, and stayed there as president until just a few years ago. The last 2 cars we ended up selling at below what we paid for them, just to get rid of them. But I was smitten, and I've stayed with it ever since. Let me drop here a second. So I built a sports car based on a Volkswagen chassis and a McLaren M6 race car called the Manta Montage. Really sexy looking thing in red, and I built that in our service department in our shop, and that gained some notoriety. I've got several pictures here on the wall of myself and Ron Sims, the last CEO of King County, and Noam Rice and I spent all day in the car, and then there's another one over here by Paul Schell, the ex-mayor of Seattle. And various things like that. So a certain amount of fame, but no money. If I'd never heard the term electric vehicle, I would have probably been a rich man by now. But just scraping by. But the smoothness and quietness of the electric vehicles, and I knew it was going to be part of the future and not the past. And that's why I kind of fell in love with the idea. I had one of the first computers and, ham radio and electronics and all of that kind of led me down that path. So that's that. And, of course, the acceleration and the power that the modern electric vehicles can give a person, why, it's... If you ever get a chance to get behind the wheel of a late model Tesla and get a piece of open road in front of you and put that accelerator to the floor, well, you'll never go back to gasoline, as we say. N7gwg.
Well, I don't know that I've ever put my foot to the floor in my life. My grandmother always told me, you drive like a grandmother. And that's not a joke. She quite literally reminds me that every time I talk to her, pretty close anyway. Well, bless her heart. How do they do as far as the life of the vehicle? I drive an older Volvo. I'm very happy with it. I really enjoy my Volvo. I'm very thankful for it. It's a 91, and it's got 340,000 miles. It's just ticking right along. So I'm a big believer in buying a durable good that will hang on for a while. So I guess my question to you is, generally speaking, in comparison to an automobile with an internal combustion engine, the electric vehicles, how do they do as far as longevity of life?
Excellent question. The electric motors themselves, the drivetrain, I would say are 5 to 1 over any, even a Volvo, as far as longevity. The batteries, the best information out there right now is that these batteries, these electric cars that have been put together since, call it 2009, 2010, they're good for 100,000 miles easily. After about 10 years of normal driving, 8,000 to 10,000 miles a year, there will be a degradation of about 20% of the range or the power that's there when the car was new will have faded. But a lot of new statistics. There are many Teslas out there with 100, 200, 300,000 miles, and they're lasting. The battery packs, which are many cells interconnected in series parallel arrangements, they're lasting longer than they ever expected. Matter of fact, case in point, my little Mitsubishi. I drive a Mitsubishi MIEV, or MyEV, I like to call it. After 2 years of ownership, I guess that would have been 2014, I got a letter from corporate. It said, congratulations, we've extended the warranty from 100,000 miles, or 8 years, to 100,000 miles, or 10 years. So if I got tired of driving this little 4-passenger car, I could sell it, and the next owner would still have a warranty out to 2022. N7 GWG.
Well, this is really fascinating. I have never had the opportunity to drive an electric automobile, but I'm sort of I'm interested in the technology. It's certainly not something I think about constantly. Like I say, I'm really a mechanical sort of person, so I quite enjoy the mechanics of things. It's a lot of fun, and so I'm quite a fan of the what you might consider antiquated technology, or what one might consider antiquated technology of the old internal combustion engine, and mine has served me well. And I understand it, so it's a little easier for me to fix. I have a bit more of a difficult time wrapping around, especially computer things, at any rate. But it's certainly a lot of fun. Now I know that they're even working on making school buses, electric school buses, and all that sort of stuff. Now that's kind of an interesting thought, because they're so silent, no one will see them coming, and so the days of listening for the bus to come to run out to the bus stop, that'll be over if they take off. Not to mention the safety risks that may come of that. Do you foresee sort of the same things based on your experience with the quietness of the electric automobiles? Have you seen safety issues that have come about because of those things?
So that's been discussed, and I think there is some federal legislation out there. However, in my neighborhood here, I'm just northeast of University Village, and there's, a lot of people with Teslas and Nissan Leafs and stuff. As the Nissan Leaf goes by, it's the tire noise and the wind noise, at 20 miles an hour, and we're right next to a school. And any modern car with their exhaust system and their mufflers and resonators in good shape are just as quiet. About the only place where we would be quieter would be in a parking lot at 2 and 3 and 4 miles an hour. Okay, fine, but at those speeds, one should not be running over pedestrians with or without any problems of sight or sound. So the responsibility is to the driver there as well. but normal residential speeds, 15, 20 miles an hour, they're the same. You know, it's the wind noise and the tire noise that you hear, and certainly at boulevard speeds or freeway speeds. But that being said, there's lobbying and some legislation afoot to make some kind of a noise in there. Now, that brings up an interesting subject. You've heard of the Pikes Peak hill climb automobile race, have you not?
No, I guess I have not. This is k7gwg. I guess I have not because I'm rather new to the area, so I don't, to be frank with you, I don't even know where Pikes Peak is, so I'll pass it back.
It's one of the highest roads in the United States. It's in Colorado, Pikes Peak. And they have been racing up that mountain to 14,100 feet since the 20s. And the last 6 years, the last 8 years, I should say, there have been some electric vehicles entered in. But gasoline powered, especially with turbocharging and supercharging because of the low oxygen, you know, when you get above 8,000 or 9,000 feet, still took the top honors at 12 miles and, I don't know, 40 or 50 switchbacks and F-turns and stuff. It's very dangerous. Many people, it seems like, go over the side and die every year. But anyway, this last year, Volkswagen entered a car, purpose-built, all electric, and surpassed all previous records of any kind of powered vehicle whatsoever. Funny that, but the fellow that drove it was a famous rally driver, and he held one of the fastest gasoline-powered records. I think about 8 minutes, 10 seconds, or in that neighborhood, and this Volkswagen all-electric did it in 7 minutes, 45 seconds, or thereabouts. So, but the thing is, because of the quietness, all the electrics had these do-do-do-do-do-do-do as they were going up the 12 miles. So that's all you heard, and that and a little screeching of tires, because all the gas-powered vehicles with open exhaust systems and headers and things, you know, you could hear them coming, 5 minutes before you saw them. But anyway, N7CWG.
Well, and now your call sign makes sense. Now, I've been listening to you on the radio for quite some time here and always chuckled at your call sign, but now I get it. I don't know if that was a vanity call or if that's just what you ended up with and you made the best of it, but that's really witty, so I've got to give that one to you. Back to you.
Comment?
Go ahead, comment.
Yeah, Kilo India 7 Trails Whiskey Victor. I was kind of listening in there. He said, I've never experienced the power of an electric motor. Okay, well, go out to your car, start it up, get it nice and warm, and stomp on the pedal until you smile. Now you get into the electric car, you do the same thing. You stomp it to the floor, and you might as well have somebody hit you with a 2x4 because it glues you to the seat. And you end up from smile to terror.
We call that the EV grin. K7CVW, yeah. I've had the pleasure of driving a couple of the different Tesla models, and Donna says, my wife says, well, you know, if we win the lottery, you'll have to buy one of those. I said, no, because the Mitsubishi here is, you know, the least expensive at the time in 2012. Yeah, it'll do 80 miles an hour, but as far as acceleration, it's a pretty slow quarter mile. I think just a hair under 70 miles an hour. But I'll add, but postscript on that. I got the eighth of a mile. You know, when they give you the slip after you go down the drag strip. And the eighth of a mile, which is, 1.5 blocks, I guess, it's 55 miles an hour. So, most people like driving like grandma or grandpa, like Scott talks about, it's perfect, it's smooth, it's quiet, but if you do have to get out of the way of somebody, you got some punch there. But no, there's the Teslas and some other of the cars coming out now. We're talking 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds for a production car. And that's the stats on the new Tesla Roadster, which will come out in, I think, 20 or 21. That's out of this world. Back to you, Scott, N7TWG.
Real quick check here. I turned my power down because my radio's a little warm. Am I still coming into the repeater okay?
5 by 9.
You could probably move back the gain of the mic down just a little, and that'd be okay.
Okay, well, I even turned it down one more. I'm down to 5 watts. How's this sounding? Is this okay? Perfect. Well, I guess I don't need 25 watts to get up there. Very good. I learned the other this last summer. I've never fact checked it, but I had a friend who was visiting. I think he was in Norway, and he said to me, you know what the most popular car in Norway is? And I said, no. There are a lot of I presume that everybody drives a Volvo over there because I'm a fan of the Volvo. And he said, no, they have more Teslas per capita in the Scandinavian countries. I think he said in Norway specifically than anywhere in the world. I thought that was fascinating. I don't know what there is driving the sale of electric cars more than other places in the world, but even more than here or anywhere else in Scandinavia, they have more Teslas per capita. I was rather surprised to hear that. So, interesting fact. Like I say, I haven't fact checked it. It's through the grapevine, but it still makes me sound smart anyway when I say it. So, back to you.
After that, yeah. Well, part of the reason is all the incentives at the federal level in the Scandinavian countries, and we have we've got a good amount of them here, and there's talk of even extending them. For the state of Washington, when I bought my Mitsubishi, I did not have sales tax, and the second part, the federal tax credit, I was retired then and didn't have any taxes. So what I did to get the benefit anyway was cashed in some IRAs early, and and of course you're taxed then. So I created $7,500 worth of taxes, and then I got that back of my income tax that year in 2012. So that's still in effect, but right now there is no sales tax exemption in the state of Washington like there is in other states. But it's helping it. But here's something that Elon Musk said in an interview just not too long ago. He said, even if this next year, let's call it 2019, every new car sold was electric, it would still be a decade or a decade and a half, 10 or 15 years, before all the old Volvos, and not dissing Volvo, I like Volvos, all the old Volvos would be off the roads and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a long slog. I think market penetration is less than 2% even still today. K7 Charlie Victor Whiskey, did you have anything else? Guess Take it, Scott.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time. I think we probably ought to free up the repeater just in case somebody else wants to have a different conversation. But it's really been a pleasure, and I really appreciate the information. For the time, I'm going to stick with my old Volvo. I'm very happy with it. But I do hope that you've sort of encouraged me that maybe I need to find somebody who has an electric car sometime and give her a try just to see what it's like at any rate. So it's interesting, the technology that's coming about. Okay, well, thank you for your time, and I sure hope you have a fantastic day. Be safe when you're up there cutting limbs and whatnot. As my mother used to say, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And you enjoy hopefully the weather will warm up a little bit for you, and just take good care of yourself. This is KI7ZCP, Scott and Renton. Have a good day.
Well, thank you, Scott, and 7-3s. Yeah, well, you know, this has been the one and only game in town for me for these 38 years. Of course, my wife, she sees me talking about it or talking to someone, she just rolls her eyes back, you know, because she's had to put up with for almost 40 years now. But anyway, well, Scott, just run on down to that Nissan dealer, and there's a Mitsubishi dealer right across the street down there by IKEA, and there's also, where is that? That's in just South Renton. And I'd like to take one for a spin. I'd be glad to let you do that. And so that's one way to do it, or to find a friend. Of course, if you're ever up in Seattle in this area, I'd be more than happy to let you drive my little car and thrash it around a little bit and see what you think. But it's the operating cost. We didn't get into that. So it's only good for about 40 to 70 miles, depending on weather and load and speed. But let's call it average. The factory says 60. Okay, so for me that's about 3 days worth of driving around here, being retired. And fill it back up, and I can tell you this, to the watt, because I've got a watt-hour meter on the dedicated place I plug in, $1.65. And with that, I'll say 7-3s and 7GWG.
Well, as I said, thanks again, and I sure hope you have a good day, and I really hope to catch you again here on the repeater sometime. I'm usually on a different repeater, but I'll be listening for you. So this is KI7ZCP, Scott Renton, 7-3 to you.
Did I double with somebody? This is K7gwg.
Oh, no, I think you doubled with Scott's final 7-3s there. Go ahead, Richard.
Okay, I was just wondering if you're going to be at the EV meeting tomorrow evening. Go ahead.
Roger that. Like I said, I inadvertently missed the last two. Probably the first time it's happened in 30 years. But yeah, I'll be there.
Outstanding. Okay, I will do my best to be there too. I would love to have a little eyeball chat with you. Okay, this is K7gwg, clear on the repeater.
N7 Golf Whiskey Golf, or N7 going without gas. Yes. The trees and the ladder and the chainsaw are calling me. I can hear it. And 7CWG will be clear as well.